Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 24 of What If Naruto Was Exiled from the Otsutsuki clan. Remember, share to all of your friends in social media platform, get this one to 100 likes as usual, and also guys, stay tuned for the rest of the episodes coming over on Anime King 2 and Anime King. And yes, if you're new, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button. Links will be down in the description for you guys to check them out and enjoy. So yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last part that we left off, as Naruto found himself coming to a stop in front of Konan, as she was a friend of Nagato. Unlike Nagato, who was blinded by his power, Konan was not, and she begged Naruto not to kill him. She told him everything that was waiting for him and the trap. She pleaded with Naruto not to kill him, as Naruto told her that he would not kill Nagato, but he would set him straight. She was grateful for that as her clone dissipated. As Naruto made his way, as he came face to face with a ragtag group of S-rank criminals, and the 6 Paths of Pain as well. Eren was a distance away as he was watching everything. Zetsu refusing to show up, as Zetsu was waiting for the perfect opportunity to do what he had planned. So with that, Naruto stepped forward. Kisame and the remaining members of the Akatsuki came towards him, but they really stood no chance. One by one, Naruto dismembered the members, taking them down with nothing but ease. To him, they were nothing but a nuisance in his path. Kakazu and Sasori feigned off against him, as they were the 2 last ones left after Naruto demolished the first few. But Sasori soon realized that his puppets were basically toys to Naruto as Naruto demolished them. Kakazu attempted to flee, as he didn't want to die here. After all, in this world, the only thing that mattered was money, and dying meant that he wouldn't have his money anymore. But he was cut off by Urza, who arrived. As Urza turned towards Naruto, it seemed that Sasori had survived as he had placed his heart in one of his other puppets. She told him that she would handle this as Naruto made his way off, as he came face to face with Nagato. As Naruto didn't talk to him for too long, as he was gonna show him why his path was wrong, as he knew that sometimes you have to use tough love. So like that, Naruto jumped into actions, taking on all 6 paths right there and then. As Nagato soon found himself completely outclassed as Naruto demolished paths after paths, completely wearing and breaking them down. As Tendo Path had trapped him in a giant spear, as Naruto came out of it with a massive explosion, showing that something like this could not hold him, as he dropped down. But before he could finish him though, something happened as Zetsu had used the weakened moment of Nagato to envelop him, casting the Renny Rebirth, and just like that he brought back someone. He then plucked the eyes out of Nagato, seeing that he was incredibly weak to do anything about it, as Naruto made his way as Konan arrived. As Konan was crying as she found Nagato a mess, his eyes were gone and he was dying. He was trying to apologize, but he was too weak to do so. As Naruto enhanced hearing could pick up the words that he was saying though, as he spoke quietly. Naruto placed a hand on his chest as he pushed some of his own life force into him. And Naruto also returned his eyes back to him, his original eyes, which were purple. Outside, as Urza was making her way, she caught sight of Eren. She removed one of his arms and legs with her cube, as he ended up fleeing. She was about to go after him, but she stopped, as Naruto arrived to her side. As she looked inside the little hideout and saw Nagato apologizing to Konan, but it was time that they finished what they started. Meanwhile that was going on, Aizen had been captured. As he was captured and they went through his mind, and Momoshiki now knew where Naruto was, and not to mention he saw things. Well, he saw Mikoto, and Naruto seemed to care about that woman. And Momoshiki was planning on making Naruto suffer by watching that woman get killed right in front of his eyes before executing him himself. But Aizen was broken out of prison by some of them that did not want Momoshiki to rule, as they prefer someone like Naruto, as they told him to go, as the two of them stay behind to take on the guards. As Aizen moved, as he had to get there before the others get there, he had to warn Naruto back on Earth as Zetsu arrived. As he brought the Renegons to the person that he had revived, it was none other than the ghosts of the Uchiha. Madara Uchiha. So yeah guys, so basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the play, check it out for yourself. So this begin this new episode. We begin this episode at Konoha. Mikoto was in the backyard of the central compound. As all of them are here. Menma, Sasuke, Hinata, Hanabi, Karin, Mito, and even Teiwaya. As this was a rather lovely sight to see all of them, well, being friends, but Mikoto didn't know why. Something felt wrong. Someone sat down beside her on the bench. As she looked over and smiled at Tsunade. "You seem upset," said Tsunade. "Oh, I'm not upset. I just have this bad feeling." Tsunade's eyes narrowed. "You feel that too?" she said, as Mikoto turned towards her. "Wait, I'm not the only one?" Both women looked at each other confused. They felt strange, like something really bad was about to happen. Meanwhile, at the hidden ring, as Nagato was nervous. Really so. It's been a long time since he actually stepped foot and looked over his own village with his own eyes. They had put Yaiko to rest. Luckily, Naruto hadn't destroyed his body. His eyes were now purple, no longer possessing those godly eyes. But yet he still felt, his body felt like it was somehow still there. He hadn't tested it out yet. He was back to full health. As he stood there nervously, he felt a hand on his shoulder as he turned to see the smiling face of Konan. As she gave him a nod, as he stepped forward, for the first time in a very long while, he looked over his village and took in a warm, inviting breath. He turned towards Konan. "Thank you," he said, as he elaborated, "for sticking with me, in the good and the bad." As Konan smiled, she was happy. Everything had worked out in the end, and she had Nagato back, and they were going to run the village and protect it. No more thoughts of world changing dominations. As Naruto had spoken to them, especially to Nagato. As everyone can't just change, things are peaceful right now. Maybe it will stay that way for a long while, but eventually someone will rise and disturb that peace. But people, there will always be people out there that will face those people and end them. It doesn't matter how long it takes. The world will always stabilize itself. As Nagato looked down towards his village, as Naruto had invited him to come to Konoha when he was ready, so he could meet the other Uzumakis, as he was going to take Naruto up on that offer soon enough. But there was a lot to be done in his village, a lot of things that he neglected because he was too focused on, well, the wrong things. He was still pissed off, as his anger was towards Eren, but Naruto told him that he will handle it, and he was just so focused in his village, and that is exactly what he will do. He felt something as he turned as he saw Konan taking his arm, as she had a small blush in her face, as his face turned a bit red as well. During his quest for world domination and conquest, certain things about him had been sealed away while he was forced, such things as his emotions. But now that things have changed so much, he started to see things differently. Meanwhile, powerful steps were making their way. It was him, brought back from the dead, as he could feel the power surging through him. He could feel the rushing blood, A pair of well-set Rinnegan eyes implanted back in his skull. Zetsu had brought them to him. He was making his way. It was none other than the man himself, Uchiha Madara. As he went through the tunnel, he then came upon an empty room as he saw someone was at the top. Making his way, he saw none other than his son. But he was not in a good state. His son was sweating. He seemed to be in pain, as steam was coming from his right arm and left leg that was now replaced with a Zetsu right arm and left leg. As Eren looked up towards his father, so that is what Zetsu did. The crafty bastard. But this was not the time. Father, you're back, he said. Eren, Zetsu was in a rush and unable to inform me about what has been taking place. He told me where to find you. What has happened? Is the plan completed? Asked Madara. I'm afraid that we have some problems. He's here. Before Eren could elaborate, Madara felt the place shaking. Something was wrong. It was then that the entire ceiling was consumed in a cube, as the cube completely erased the ceiling. As the cube floated back right towards Earth's palm, as she dissipated it, the two godly beams then landed right in the center of the open out hall as light flooded in. As Naruto blinked, as Madara raised the eyebrow, Naruto, Madara, the both of them said at the same time. It was then that Ursa turned her head towards Eren. A cube shot from her palm so quickly, he didn't have time to project himself. The next thing he knew, he was captured. Her overwhelming chakra messed with his system, as he could not project himself out of there. He was screwed, considering that she did this to his arm and leg and completely eviscerate them. As Naruto turned towards Madara, who brought you those eyes? Madara looked at Naruto confused. You mean the eyes that belong to me? He said. No. Who brought them to you just now? It doesn't seem like you're here to talk. And I'd rather keep that information to myself. Just in case. Just in case what? For whatever that thing is to sneak up on me, it won't work. And whatever you're doing, you're wrong. Madara blinked in confusion. I'm wrong? What are you even talking about? The both of you, you're being played, said Naruto. Now tell me, who brought you those eyes? It couldn't have been him because he wasn't there. As Madara calmly watched Naruto, usually, Naruto was the one to talk and listen, but now, he was angry. Incredibly so. But Madara, being Madara, looked towards Naruto up and down. I did not get to fight you especially when I was in my prime, because you became a monk. After Uza fell, I heard what you did. As Naruto just kept on looking at the man, I heard that you returned as the wrathful god, causing mass destruction in those three nations, forever change an elemental nation. But after my battle with Hoshirama, going up against you then would be a bad idea. And now that I have my eyes, and I can feel the blood rushing through my system, it's time we finally fight each other, Sensei. And I show you what I can truly do. I'm not in the mood for your games, Madara. That can wait. Tell me, who brought you those eyes? First thing first, let's see if you can defeat me, Sensei. You always boast in the past, said Madara as he folded his arms. I haven't had a good battle since Hoshirama. So Sensei, show me what you can really do. Show me what the rightful god, who was holding back during his entire time training us, can really do, said Madara. Because if not, the information, Madara was cut off as his face was grabbed. He was thrown like a doll, breaking through the far wall as Naruto went after him. Ursa then sat down as she sighed. As she lay her back on the ground, looking up at the broken ceiling. This is his past, she said to herself. I don't feel I should get involved. She then turned towards her cube as it came closer, as she looked towards Eren, who was frowning at her. As his eyes were spinning wildly. Your puny attacks won't work on me, especially your visual attacks. Such pathetic techniques. As she just looked at him. You know you're gonna die, right? As Eren frowned. You might have survived if you hadn't killed Kushina, but you killed his daughter. You were the main reason for everything. He's gonna kill you. It's not an if or a but. He might look like he's not going to, but he's gonna do it. The years of him being calm has certainly soothed his temper. Usually, he wouldn't think twice. He would just eradicate everything around him, leaving nothing but dust. But the years of traveling, grieving, it had changed him a lot. But you took something away from him. Something that he would have had if it wasn't for you. So after he gets what he wants, you will die. She then turned her head, ignoring Eren, as the man tried to find a way to exit the strange barrier. But there was no way possible, it seems. As for Madara, he was thrust through the air as he crashed in the ground, as he felt pain. Pain, actual pain. The thrill of battle was getting to him. Instead of crying out in pain, he smiled. A bloodthirsty smile as he picked himself up. Boom! As Naruto crash landed right in front of him. As Madara looked up towards his former sensei, instead of cowering down, Madara simply smiled. This won't be like the past, Naruto. A lot has changed. For you as well, it seems. You went missing for so long. After the destruction of Uza, you vanished. After annihilating 3 nations, tell me, why did you use your power then? As Madara answered for him, let me tell you why. It was because you were angry. And yet, you could do so much more. When you were training us, so much things were happening, and yet, you disregarded it all because you believed that it wasn't your place. But you could have done so much more. But yet you didn't do a damn thing. It always irked me that someone like you possessed such power, but was never willing to do anything. For a long time, I started to question your actions and everything about you. I then decided that I will be the one to change this world. Not only that, change it for the better. That is why I will place everyone on this planet into an infinite Tsukiyomi, the perfect dream world where they can live their reality and their dreams as they wanted to. That is the only way that this battle is gonna end, said Madara as he got himself ready. As Naruto finally spoke, you're right, it wasn't my place in the past. I did not feel like it was my place to do anything. Because you should know, Madara, this is not my world. Madara narrowed his eyes at that. Not your world. There's a lot of things that you don't know. First thing first, I'm not from this planet. That is one major thing. I went away. I left this planet after the Uzumakis were destroyed. And after what I committed, too much in my grief, I fled this planet. Several others I went to after the demise of the 3 nations. You might think that this planet is all, but you're wrong. Humans like you did not even possess chakra in the beginning. It was given to you by the Sage of Six Paths, but it was given to him as Naruto clenched his fists. But he did not elaborate on who had given it to the Sage of Six Paths. But that does not matter. There are a lot of things that you don't understand, and this plan of yours won't work. What? Said Madara. You're just wasting your time, said Naruto. But I know how stubborn you are. Unlike most people, I cannot talk you out of what you're doing because you believe that your actions is justified. You believe that what you're doing is right, putting people in a false sense of hope, reality, where they get everything they want. But I assure you, that is not the end result of what will happen. Then what will happen? What do you know more than I do, said Madara. The truth will only break you, said Naruto. You disregard everything, your friendship with Hashirama, to follow through with this because you saw how powerful I was and think that by gaining that power you were somehow able to change this world. But you've mistaken and wasted your life. But it's not all your fault. From the minute Whatever gave you back that Rinnegan, you met that thing. You've been controlled. That thing has been using you. Madara clenched his fists. I was the one that created Black Zetsu. You don't know what you're talking about. As Madara realized what happened, as he frowned, Black Zetsu, said Naruto, this is my mother's doing. All of this. Even your son is being controlled, to a certain extent, by my father. The both of them had been manipulating things since the beginning, and it's time I end that. As Naruto looked over Madara, for the past of me being your saint and you be my student, I'll give you a chance. Leave. Change your ways. Live out the life that you have lost. I have the ability to completely change you, taking away your current stature and change you completely, giving you a new form of life where you can start over, have kids. Despite everything that has happened in the past, I believe you deserve a second chance. A curious question came to Madara's mind. Have kids? What about the son I have right now? I'm afraid that you won't live to see tomorrow. So you're going to have my son's life, huh? It is something that has to be done. As Madara simply scoffed at that. Well, it does not matter. I do not intend to agree with anything that you say. I already dig my bed, and now I will lie in it. As I said before, this is not the same as a past. The ground started to tremble around him. As he started to exert power, his Rinnegan started to swirl. Immense power started to come forth. As Madara brought it forward, suddenly the entire area exploded outwards. A powerful shockwave that reduced everything to dust. As Naruto stood there completely unfazed, Madara shot out of the smoke. As he was a lot faster, he reached Naruto within seconds, his fists driving towards Naruto's head. As Naruto saw Madara coming towards him, as Naruto tilted his body down, the fist passed over him as Naruto grabbed Madara's wrist before yanking it down. Madara received a brutal fist to the face as his upper body was thrown, his lower body following the motion as he spun through the air. He crashed down on the ground. It was then that electricity was shot from Naruto's palm as Madara had to dive out of the way or else be incinerated. As he redirected himself properly, he flashed two hand signs. Fire style. Majestic Destroyer Flame. Madara released a flame from his mouth that was beyond intense. It was like a tidal wave rushing towards Naruto. Naruto held up his hand and released wind. Usually, when flames and winds combine, they empower the flame, but this wind was nothing natural. Madara watched as his flames were blown away. They were extinguished. He did not let that put him down though as he moved once again, as he attacked Naruto with a flurry of attacks. But his attacks were either blocked or redirected as Naruto palm struck him right in the stomach. Madara staggered back as he wheezed and coughed, feeling pain coursing through his body from one single palm strike. As Naruto was in mid-air the moment he blinked, Naruto's feet slapped his head to the side, throwing the Uchiha away. Madara flipped several times as he fired several miniature fireballs. Naruto coated his hand in chakra as he simply slapped the fireballs away to the side as he moved. As Naruto appeared before Madara landed, BAM! As Naruto's feet slammed into his back. Madara spat out blood as he was thrown violently as he crashed towards the ground. The man picked himself up as Naruto pointed two fingers towards him. A pinkish beam formed on Naruto's finger before it fired forward. The beam of energy as Madara jumped out of the way just in time. As he looked towards the massive boulder, his eyes pulsate with power as he redirected the boulder straight towards Naruto. As Naruto punched it to nothing but dust. As Madara appeared behind him in the distraction, his feet weaving through the air as Naruto blocked it. Naruto grabbed Madara's ankle and lifted him up before smashing him violently in the ground. A brutal kick to his chest completely obliterated his armor. As the man was sent sailing like a gig, he rolled on the ground several times before coming to a stop. Madara spat out blood as he pulled himself up in frustration, his teeth glistening with blood. He knew from the beginning never to underestimate his sensei, but as he looked towards Naruto, who seemed to be barely trying, Madara went through another set of hand signs. This time, as Naruto felt the surge of chakra, Madara then slammed his hand together, as wood erupted from the ground. Hundreds to be exact, as he rushed towards Naruto. Naruto was a bit surprised seeing the Mokiton of Fushirama, as the wood style enveloped the entire place. Madara stood there, as the place was now filled with trees. He then felt something as he looked up in the sky. There Naruto stood, as Naruto looked down towards him. "You won't stop," said Naruto. "You continuously do things that endanger people I once again come to care about. That is why I have to erase you." As Madara spat to the side. "Seems you've changed from the past. Usually, you'd have let me go, because I wouldn't have concerned you. What made you change?" "That is not important," said Naruto. "It's time to rest." Madara teeth grit in anger. "You still treat me like I'm some kind of child that you train. You should know, I am far, far from that child you once knew." As he slammed his hands together, the wooden vines reacted as he shot up in the sky, spears coming towards Naruto. As Madara created 10 wooden clones from his body. "Now, relish in the power that I possess." Those clones start to get an ethereal blue around them, as Naruto watches a construct of chakra was created. 2 blades, it was the Susanoo. The 10 of them rushed towards Naruto, their blades whipping through the air as Naruto jumped. 2 black staff came in his hand as he blocked the first 2 that came down towards him. He redirected them to the side before throwing the other staff. It split through the Susanoo with ease, tearing through the skull of a clone. As Naruto then jumped, a kick broke through the back of another clone, crushing it under his palm. Naruto raised out his hand as he yanked the other one towards him with nothing but force. He then repelled it, but the force of repulsion was nothing normal as it obliterated the clone to pieces. As 2 balls of fire appeared in Naruto's hand, Naruto combined them and they turned into a disc. He threw it. 4 more were cut down as Naruto reappeared behind the real Madara. As Madara smirked as his body started to glow. Boom! He exploded. As real Madara emerged, as he watched the explosion. When the smoke cleared, there Naruto stood, barely even badly burned. His smoke was a bit singed but nothing worse for wear. The other clones came towards Naruto as Naruto ripped them apart with ease. Madara frowned as he once again controlled the wood to attack Naruto as he started to flee from the battlefield. Once he was far enough away, he slammed his hands together. As his Susanoo came around him, they also slammed their hands together as something emerged from the clouds. Over off in the distance, Eren had sit down. There was no point of him forcefully using his chakra trying to escape. This barrier, whatever it was, it absorbed his chakra and used it back against him as his fire heated up the place. But the gall of this woman. Ursa was sleeping. She was sleeping. This woman and her gall to just sleep right here, like he wasn't even a threat. It angered him, it pissed him off to no end. Ursa's eyes slowly opened as Eren looked up as he saw the sky. Something was coming down. It was a massive meteor. Seems like things are getting interesting, Ursa thought. Meanwhile, as Naruto looked up toward the sky and saw the meteor descending down towards him, as Naruto raised both hands to the skies, it was then that hundreds of rods, hundreds of black rods formed as he repelled them forward. They hit the meteor with such force as they shredded through it, turning the once devastating attack into mere rubble. Another one came down as Naruto clenched his fist, a tiny black ball forming right in his palm as he imbued with his power before throwing it. The thing enlarged before it reached the meteor and it swallowed it as it compressed and crushed the meteor inside. As Naruto flashed away, as Madara felt his hand grab before he could do anything, as he looked behind him, as Naruto stood there with a disappointed look, before he threw Madara as Madara broke right through a wall column, crashing. As Naruto stepped towards him. Before Naruto could reach though, the entire ear was ripped apart. As a massive Susanoo emerged. His perfect Susanoo. The thing was large as it made Naruto look like an ant. Now, Naruto, you will see what I can truly do. Let's see who escaped this unscathed. As Madara then raised his hand and pulled out that blade. The blade whipped through the air as it sliced several massive peaks around them. Madara then brought it down without hesitation. As Naruto's chakra started to surge. Boom! But the thing did not hit the ground. Madara was confused as he felt something stopping the blade. He put more energy in it as he focused his eyes to realize, as he froze in shock. As Naruto's hand was holding up the blade, as Naruto's power was leaking out, the air started to get cloudy. Rain started to fall at Naruto releasing this quantity of his power right here, as he started to change the very nature itself, shocking Madara at just the quick split change. As power started to ooze from Naruto's body, Naruto vanished as he reappeared in front of Madara's Susanoo. Madara blinked, but it was too late as Naruto kicked him right through it. He was sent sailing as he crashed into the ground. As Naruto reappeared in front of him and grabbed him and slammed him down by his throat. As three black rods formed as Naruto stabbed them in his hand and grind on his stomach. Madara coughed up blood as he tried to mold his chakra, but he felt his system disrupted. As he cursed, trying to get free, but he could not. There wasn't any chance of you winning, said Naruto, as he sat down. As Madara looked towards him, but he wasn't angry. I always knew the possibility of you, barely, showing your power to us back then. Now I realize that you're far stronger than you let on. You weren't even going anywhere near all out with me. Unfortunately not, said Naruto. Huh. Well, what should I expect? You're being from a different planet. Something entirely different than what we're used to. Guess I underestimate you. Your time has passed, Madara. You coming back to cause this world chaos is not necessary right now. So just rest, said Naruto as he pushed his hand in Madara's chest. As Madara looked down, but he felt no pain, as he felt something leaving him. Shh, said Naruto. Just rest. As Naruto pulled out the man's soul. As Naruto's hand was glowing that ethereal white, as he held onto his soul in his hand. He then closes his eyes as Naruto connected in the soul. Going through Madara's memories, Naruto saw it. Madara thinking that he created this black Zetsu, but he did not. As Naruto released Madara's soul and it vanished, Naruto picked himself up. As he looked over toward the side, a simple pulse of his eyes on the ground broke apart. He picked up Madara's body as he placed the body in there, as he made him a nice grave right there, placing his hand on the ground petrified. No one, no matter how strong they were on this planet, could dig through that. As he lay to his final rest. With that, Naruto walked off. Ah, you're finally back, said Ursa, as she saw Naruto. What took you so long? Had to sort out a few things, said Naruto, as Naruto's eyes then focused on Eren. You stupid child, said Naruto. Eren frowned, as Naruto simply looked him over. But I guess all of it wasn't your fault. But you are to blame as well. For what you took from me. Your life will be ending today. Eren cursed as his Sharingan started to pulse once again, switching into the Mangekyou, but nothing was working. He was done. The barrier started to release chains as they grabbed his leg, and they grabbed onto his feet as well. The barrier then vanished, as Naruto stepped forward before he grabbed onto Eren's head. Eren's eyes went white, as Naruto's eyes also went white. As Naruto followed that trail of chakra that he sensed in Eren. As he found it, he attached himself to it as he pushed through the barrier, breaking through the source. Naruto arrived in front of a throne. It wasn't his real body, it was just a projection of him. As he was in a strange dimension, looking around he saw Strange lines on the walls, strange dim purple color, but his eyes focused towards the man on the throne. As the man chuckled a bit. So you finally found me, huh? The man had a patch of black hair in the center of his head while the sides were bald. A black ponytail at the back. He had a little black marking on his chin, as he was wearing a white coat with black pants and slippers. As Naruto focused on the man, looking towards the diamond in his chin and the mark on his cheek, as Naruto's fist clenched. So I was right, he said. My son, it's been a while. Don't call me that, said Naruto. As Ishiki looked towards Naruto, you've grown. Not just physically, mentally as well. As Ishiki saw the murderous rage in Naruto's eyes. It will take you a while to find me here. But, let's talk. I have nothing to say to you. The only thing I want to see is your head in my palm. As Ishiki chuckled a bit. As amusing as ever, he said. Don't let your cockiness of your new found strength misguide your judgment of who is still the stronger one here. That was a long time, father, when I challenged you and I lost. But I assure you, I am no longer the same man. Why don't you come out of hiding and let us have a proper conversation? I'm afraid it's too soon. There is still much to do. As Naruto's fist clenched. So let me guess, you're the one that sent this puppet after my daughter. I must say, I was surprised when I found out that you were on this planet. You were never a good censor, were you, my son? That friend of yours, Urza, she was always a better censor out of you too. Well, you were not trying to actively seek me. But I want to always know what is going on this elemental nation, so I keep tabs every now and then. I was surprised when I saw you, my son. As Naruto was getting angry at the man calling him son. Really surprised. I watched you. I watched everything that happened. And I saw the downfall of that clan that you love. So many things that evade you, that made you leave this planet. Although it gave me enough time. I guess I should thank that one in the village of yours. What are you talking about? Said Naruto. Oh yes, you don't know. You see, my son. A man in your village sent this little goon to kidnap your wife. As Naruto's eyes narrowed at that. You know me. I'm not one for lying. That will be just a waste. He kidnapped that woman of yours. And she was able to give birth to your daughter. You were lied to. Well, that Hokage twisted the truth so that you wouldn't find out that he was lying to your face. He did tell you what happened, but he did not specify who exactly took your wife, allowing you to leave Earth, making your child grow up and have children of her own. As Naruto clenched his fists, he was angry, more than angry, but he kept himself calm. You didn't go after Kushina because you believed I would come back and find you, said Naruto. I couldn't have you finding me so easily, so I just watched. As your daughter grew and gave birth on that night, I had already created my plan. And you went after my grandchild, said Naruto. They're my family too. You just wanted to use them, like you always did for people, still going after your claim of becoming a god. To surpass the king, well, guess what? The king is gone. You want to know something else? Momoshiki is now in charge. As Jigen face twisted at that. What? You've been locked up for too long, unable to spy on our precious home world. Now have you, father? Said Naruto with a smirk seen. Look on his father's face. Stuck here like a hermit, planning, hoping, praying, like the coward you are. It's always about becoming a god to you, isn't it? Becoming the strongest. That is why you took my grandchild. You were gonna use her to feed her to the damn 10 tails as well. You were hoping that she would grow strong enough to use that power that she possessed. So you had that man Eren took her. You monster, said Naruto. She's your family. Well, what should I expect? You never cared about me or anyone else. All for the sake of power. As Ishiki just looked at him. What? Nothing to say? Well, let me finish this on a high note. You can't hide forever. Me find out that you're alive was a big mistake. Because I will find you. And I will tear your heart out with my bare hands. Remember my words, father, said Naruto. I won't stop. Until you're dead. Ishiki started to actually chuckle as he looked at Naruto. But there was no humor on the man's face. Well, come and find me if you think you can. I'll be waiting for your challenge. Actually, I kind of need you for something. You think you can feed me to the damn 10 tails, said Naruto. As Ishiki just looked at him. Let's talk properly when you find me. I'll be waiting. Hurry up and deal with your human business. And let's have a talk as Otsutsukis. Talk? Oh, I'm not coming to talk, said Naruto. Well, there's something else, Ishiki said. You should know your mother. She's not my mother. Neither of you has ever been a father or mother to me, said Naruto. So stop referring to yourself as that. Well then, Kaguya had 2 more kids on this planet after she betrayed me. She wanted to protect mankind. So she created these white beings, intent to fight our kind. As stupid as that was. Well, your mother was always too soft. But she really disliked our kind, didn't she? She also turned her dislike on you, because you were indeed a Otsutsuki as well. And she hated the regime. We both know that you only marry mother for her powers, then Naruto, because you want to strengthen your house. Yes, that is right. And out of that you were born. You should be grateful. Yeah, tell me that when I'm killing you, said Naruto. As Ishiki chuckled once again. I will, he said. But, as I was saying, the sage of the 6th path, that man, he is your brother. He also had another brother called Hamura and Hagoromo. The both of them fought Kaguya and sealed her way in the moon. She had went crazy, as she wanted all the world's chakra. She defied our clan and took the fruit for herself. Momoshiki would be coming to kill her anyway. But she betrayed me in the end, so it did not matter. She is currently sealed away by those 2. I have noticed that you've been studying their art of Fuinjutsu. So I have no doubt that you can break that seal. Why are you telling me this? Just figure I would talk with my son after so long. You keep on calling me that, said Naruto. Do you think in the end I'm gonna join you and say I miss you, father? If that is the case, you're sadly mistaken. Because I'm done. As Naruto turned his back, I'll be waiting, Ishiki said. As Naruto vanished. The moment Naruto opened his eyes, Ursa saw a look on his face. What's wrong? He's here. Where, she asks. I don't exactly know. But we'll find him. That woman is also here as well. She is? Yes, apparently. She's been sealed away by 2 other kids that she's sire. Seems that she's the one that started this whole thing. Having her kids give chakra to humankind. What now, said Ursa. We find the both of them and kill them, said Naruto. Well, it was a long time coming. Even though they were not really with clan traditions anymore. They still betray our home world. And for that, they must die. So I'll gladly help you rip them apart. As Naruto nodded, he then turned back towards Eren, who was standing there confused. You poor naive child, said Naruto. My father, as Naruto spat at that, has been putting thoughts in your head. After thoughts. He never exactly controlled you, but he placed the thoughts in your head on how to acquire more power. But you were the one that went after Kushina. You killed her because of your hatred for Konoha. That is something. As Naruto grabbed his face, as Eren started to scream, he released a blood-curdling scream as his inside started to boil. Blood coming from his mouth as Naruto stepped back. Eren dropped to his knees as his scream clawed his throat, as Naruto had let something enter his mouth. The thing was incinerating from the inside as he opened his mouth. Fire exploded out of it, burning his lip down to nothing but a nub. His eyes popped. His ears bled as he dropped, spasming in pain as his entire body enveloped in flames. As both Urza and Naruto watched as he was turned into dust. Brutal, Urza said. Seems the old Naruto is still in there, waiting to come out. So, what now, she said, quickly disregarding that. We have things to do. Come on, let's stop back Konoha for a while. Don't you miss Nagato? Of course I do, said Naruto. Let me guess, you want to visit Guy, right? Is that still going on? Come on, you already gave me your blessing. What with that tone, she asked. Can't I be curious about my friend's well-being? No, you may not, she said. Are you really? Yes, said Naruto. Well, tell you the truth, he's awesome. You know that power of youth, the flames, that he always goes on about? He's really athletic. So when you think about it in the bedroom, Naruto go for your mouth. I never asked you about that. As he removed his hand. Come on, just two friends sharing their sex life. As Naruto's eye twitched. I said I don't want to know. Well, me and Nagato talk about you, you know. Wait, what? Said Naruto. Of course. She's kind of my bestie. We talk about you in certain things. And we also laugh. Laugh, said Naruto. As she walked off. Wait, laugh about what? As she chuckled to herself. Now he wanted to know. But really, there was really nothing, but she was gonna drag it out. Who knows, she said. Are you messing with me? Who knows? And I know that you won't ask Nagato. So I'm the only one that knows. As she skipped along, ignoring him, as he called after her. The both of them stopped when they heard a sonic boom. Something that even alerted them from their far position. They looked up to see something falling from the sky a distance away. Their Byakugan activated. Their eyes went wide when they saw that it was Aizen. He was in bad shape. As Naruto saw several individuals following him, Otsutsuki. He looked towards Urza and nodded as both of them flashed away. Meanwhile, in Kumo, the village had still not recovered from a complete, devastating attack that erased them. After all, everyone in the village had died, as the population had shortened to a ridiculous amount. At the moment, 5% of Kumo was civilians. The 95% was shinobis. Considering that all of the civilians were inside because of the war, they were all evaporated. And the ones that were left outside were just shinobis. It was hard at first, but they had managed. 30 plus years, the village, structures, everything had managed to regrow and rebuild. The 4th Raikage A had taken over his father after he watched his father turn into dust by that man. He had had constant dreams about that man, killing his father right in front of his eyes, and he was unable to do a damn thing about it. He was too weak back then, but now he was a lot stronger. He had trained like crazy, taking on the title and making sure that Kumo stand tall despite its weakened state. And if that man showed his face again, he would slaughter him. News had been spreading about the wrathful god returning. He had sent ninjas disguised as civilians to Konoha for the exams, and from a description that they gave him, it was him. He was back, but he didn't know how to go about it. But he will kill that man for what he has done. He couldn't just allow him to walk free. As Ace sat in his office looking over his village, he looked at the window as he saw a glaring light. What the hell? Boom! Something crashed in his village. Ace didn't waste time as he burst right through the window, jumping down the rocky skyscraper as he quickly made his way. As he arrived towards the epicenter of the crash, arriving there, he saw a man with white hair, same eyes, a fist clenched, but he looked at the face. He looked similar, but it was not him. He still remembered that face from his youth, but this man was not him, but they had the same characteristic. Aizen groaned. Things didn't work out as he thought. He got caught, and he had to fight. A lot of them. Aizen looked up as he saw several individuals coming down towards him. He looked up as he saw these things descending down towards his village. Aizen. Did you really think that you could outrun us? The one at the front said as he seemed to be the leader. Aizen spat. He had to create a distraction. He had to get the hell out of here and warn Naruto. Hey, you two. Go to the village that our Lord told us about and find that black-haired woman. We were told to bring her back. You two follow after them. But behind a bit. If Naruto is here and he shows his face, restrain him. I will be there shortly after I deal with him. Aizen spat. Do you really think that they can take Naruto? Our Lord has blessed us with more power than before. We're no longer the same as we once were. You might have been able to kill a few of my soldiers. You mean pawns, Aizen said. Just because you were Momoshiki. Lapdog Kenji. Kenji Otsutsuki snarled. His hair was a different shade from all of them. It was more bluish. His eyes, showing the natural Byakugan, as he had on a coat, with a black shirt underneath. Lapdog. As Kenji was a part of Momoshiki's house, he wasn't one of the strongest members, but he always listened to Momoshiki, as he was basically his servant. Well, he was overall. As Kenji chuckled, it doesn't matter what you say. We are a lot stronger now. And when we do find him, he and that woman of his will be taken and judged accordingly. Now, you two. As Kenji paused, as he felt the place went quiet, all of the ninjas in Kumo stopped as he arrived at the scene. Something just came through the ear that stunned all of them. As all of them looked up in the sky as they saw them, there he stood in mid-air with Urza at his side as Naruto looked down towards Aizen and the Otsutsukis that came with him. Kenji snarled. He was defeated disgracefully by Naruto. When Naruto had to fight Momoshiki's house, now was his chance for revenge. A smile came on his face as Aizen smirked at that. He made it. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want the next person to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications to stay posted. But I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.